this is what I want. This is my game plan, and RRQ just have to respond to that.
You know what? It would be nice if we could have like a win rate on red side, a win rate on blue side. Like seeing how these players are taking advantage of the first pick or the first 2 picks of the first phase of pickings will be interesting. But there's the draft.
At least that would give us a better idea here. But now, let's see what direction that Bren wants to go with, because we see them kind of bait out like, hey, do you want to let go of the Brody? Do you want to let go of the Esmeralda or the Benedetta? They're going to force RRQ Hoshi to choose. It's going to be Natalia and Yishin Shin already banned out for Bren Esports, while on the red side, RRQ is going to be banning out the Brody as well as the Matilda.
I'm guessing Jawhead should show up here, whether by ban or by pick. I do believe that Lusty is decent on it, and Psycho should be able to use the aggression of Wiz King and the Sin to great advantage. And again, for Bren Esports, I'm wondering why Lusty got locked into the Sylvana earlier, right? That's the Benedetta ban right now by Bren Esports. I'd like to know RRQ Hoshi from game number 1. They really did well to time out the Imperial Justices. Not a single one from Bren Esports earlier was used as they intended.
If you're gonna pick a Cho, like if you're gonna lock into a Sylvana or a Cho, there's actually a difference between those two. Cho is much more rewarding in terms of punishing those teams that like to split push. But for Sylvana, if you're gonna pick a Sylvana and the team split pushes, then they don't really fight 5 on 5 as much as possible. So you just want to go for the Cho. But for RRQ Hoshi, as you've seen on game number 1, they really like to go for those fights. So Sylvana is going to be much more rewarding. I like the read coming up from Bren Esports that they want to fight, but the Sylvana didn't just work for them at that point.
Yeah, this time we're seeing Claude and Dexter coming into play for Bren Esports, so already snatching this key pick away from Sin. What a way to actually welcome him on the stage. But RRQ Hoshi, we talked about that Sylvana a lot. Don't you think it's also quite dangerous that they opened this pick up for RRQ?
I would totally agree here. I mean, the Sylvana is probably going to be the pick coming in for RRQ, but the question is whether do they want to get the Yuzong or do they want to get something else? And oh no, instead, they're going to completely avoid it and go straight for something extremely reliable, the Jawhead as well as the Selena.
Yeah, the thing about Jawhead is why I'm forcing it and why I'm just not over it yet, why game 1 it didn't show up is it's always on. Ejector is not an ultimate. Ejector comes on and off like within the same team fight 2 or 3 times. And yeah, Unstoppable Force, it's an almost confirmed -1, except for if it's like a tank or someone with mobility. But right here, right now, I think if they don't pick up a hero for Lusty, it's gonna be tough. Again, you have to focus so much for your mid lane when you're looking at Bren Esports here. This can't be a gold laner. There it is.
Yep,
that's Lusty's show.
Okay, so now with that being shown, I would expect RRQ to maybe consider getting an offlaner, but they don't necessarily have to. We have seen teams say, like, yes, we do like Lapu Lapu, and it is a great pick. However, we can save it for much later on, and not to mention that there's such a plethora of, like, Wanwan, the Wanwan going into the side lane, the Harith going into the side lane, that Yuzong doesn't necessarily need to win. It's just going to get oppressed, and you just have to absorb that damage.
I agree. But RRQ Hoshi here, just to put a bit more emphasis into the Selena and Jawhead pick, they will never make Carl TZ, if he's ever gonna use the Cloud, they will never give him the idea that he is safe. There is always a chance that the Jawhead, Selena, is just waiting at a certain area, and they're gonna throw an arrow, they're gonna go for the ejector. And that's the thing, RRQ Hoshi, they don't really like this Jawhead pick as much. You don't really see him come out from them. But if it's necessary, they will just go for it. And with the Claude on the other side, this is the perfect pick for them into the early game.
Honestly, like what you just added right there, let's talk about this lane pick as well. This gives not much safety net for that Claude, where every one of these members can just play ultra aggressive, dive straight to him, just catch him out, whether it's before or after the Blazing Duet is the best scenario to be able to catch him.
It's a good foil.
Yeah, and
it's mobility and it's catch.
Exactly, and now they're already eliminating all these difficult to deal with heroes such as the Khalid.
R7,
well,
Khalid.
Yeah, so where are they going with this?
Oh no, here's the thing. from last game, I'm not sure if it was Khalid on the, sorry, R7 on the Khalid, but RRQ Hoshi, I think they understand that they have to lock down Few. Again, Lusty has already made it through, so they attack the next best thing, and they attack both Few and the gold lane. Although I still have hope that maybe, just maybe, Bren Esports can actually flex this and put the Claude in the gold lane.
Potentially, yeah.
They need to.
I think, you know, throwing Claude into the gold lane is definitely a shout here, and that's why RRQ is just banning out the 1-1, saying at the very least where you're gonna have to flex the Claude. Claude is something that we can see, so that we can deal with, and you can't really change it. The 1-1 could be flexible later on, so don't want to deal with that whatsoever. Thamo's getting banned out by Bren. It looks like they want to push RRQ towards that Lapu Lapu.
I think Bren is baiting out the Belleric right now for the side of RRQ Hoshi. Like, you have the Claude, you ban out 2 side laners. It feels like you're baiting out something here, but that is going to be the gold lane Harith. Will RRQ Hoshi give in? Because the Claude-Belleric relationship is actually, you know, very complex. It's a love-hate relationship.
I mean, to be fair, Lemon isn't playing, so they might not necessarily whip it
True.
out, but you don't really know.
True.
And I do like the Harith pick more so because you can flex him into that gold lane and in towards the mid lane as well, leaving that final pick to kind of predetermine, yeah, we could get the Lapu Lapu, we could still kind of spice things up and, you know, add in a Farsa if we really wanted to, or, you know, add in a bigger tank later on.
Yeah, 2 mages can still show up, 2 mages. Side lane, mage, and of course, mid for Few. Do note, I think it's very possible that a Harith can go into the XP lane as well.
Yeah.
What's scarier than an ultra-fast Zaman Force quick rotation? Like, that's the thing.
I don't really see anything,
Oh.
or I don't really see any hero on the side of RQ Hoshi that will pin people down in a certain area.
I don't think they need to.
If
at
anything,
this
they're
point.
chasing. They're chasing.
They're hyper aggressive here. They're playing with the Jawhead and as well as the Selena. Both of those predetermined that if you walk up, we will try to take advantage. But I think, you know, Bren, they've got some really good options here. We've seen the matchup time and time again between Selena into the Cho, where, you know, Cho can actually face tank a lot of these Abyssal Arrows with a well-timed Shinpo, and then it's not that big of a deal. But coming in with that Sylvana, level 4 is going to be kind of interesting for both sides. I can't really tell who's going to win that level 4.
Okay. Okay,
But
like
RRQ, they're going to be locking in the Ruby.
Ruby.
It gives them certain damage, it controls people, and they just want to hold them into place. And this is perfect for them. There's enough time for them to take people down. I mean, chasing down people, yes, that's true, but you still have to take into consideration the Zaman Force. Harith wants to be there. You know, Ling might be chasing them down, but I think Ling on the other side is just gonna go for the backline. I think that's their main idea here.
Yeah, we've seen this sort of composition before from the side of Bren Esports. What I'm really surprised is that they honestly didn't bother about the Alice pick or the Sylvana, which easily could have been banned away, and they offer 1-1 instead, which kind of secures things for RRQ. Like, hey, if game 1 it went our way, we're gonna do it again.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from here. And okay, so give or take, I think RRQ was prepared to lose the Sylvana, or, you know, arguably flex the Cho. But I think it's time as we get into the game to figure out this conclusion as we move on into game 2. Please, Butters, Contra, as well as Leo, go for it. Cast this game. Give us some color.
Here we go. Bren Esports versus RRQ Hoshi. If Butters was right, if the pacing for Bren Esports actually is beneficial, that they learn a little bit from game number 1, we'll see. This should be the litmus test for that. Now, Lusty leashing a bit for Carl TZ. This is a quick purple. I think this just allows Carl TZ to be able to move out a little faster, get that BMI, and get that extra little bit of damage and mobility. And then moving on, that's also the purple. Oh, no, orange first. Orange first here for Sin.
Pretty interesting start as we are already seeing a little bit of contest going over on towards Little Wanderer. And okay, I guess we're going to be staring at them just having a chance of snatching it away.
It makes a lot of sense to just go for the orange first for the Ling. Just because you want to be a bit faster than the Claude. I mean,
Dealing
Claude,
damage, that is.
not necessarily, but you just want to use your superior mobility to just clear the waves and just find the pick off, just get your level 4, go to another lane. The Claude will think, should I go there or should I just farm? Because that's the thing. the Tempest of Blades is a good way to control people as well and take down people in the process. But looking at the side lanes here for the side of Bren Esports, I think the Ling will have a great time going back and forth on those side lanes as long as in terms of dueling their lanes win.
I feel like it was one of those situations where they're kind of I wouldn't say preemptively doing it, just playing off the information at hand. You had somebody go into the mid lane, they were going to, you know, fast clear that jungle. They started on towards the orange side because they can generally see, oh, they started showing up, they started up into the mid lane, they quickly ran over to deal with their purple buff straight away. So at that moment, they say, okay, we can actually match you here. We're gonna start on our orange side, move over to our purple, and then contest for Litho Wanderer in the river.
I just like how both teams are actually having exactly the same thought, same sort of the routes that they do take. So it's all about, you know, who gets what, and then they can plot to the next attack, and we are already back in towards our game. So game number 2 here. I really do wonder how would they shut down Sin's side, because they only got Lusty, and if he uses Way of the Dragon to catch either the Harif or even the likes of Finn, it's easier to burst down. But Sin, they gotta make sure that they catch him real fast.
That's what Few is for. That's what Few is for. He is on the Sylvana, and I think he'll be a little more frugal when it comes to the Imperial Justice this time around, seeing how it didn't work out so well in game number 1. This gold lane matchup up top is also something interesting to note. Harith wins the early game compared to the Alice. Now Few spots one off. That's going to be Psycho right across the bush. And while the action isn't happening just yet, oh, nice arrow thrown out. Just misses by a hair.
I just love it that Bren Esports took something from Todak's book and they just put the Sylvana as a support. Like, you can do that. You're not limited into just those high damage dealing heroes. You can scale people there as well. Now with this Sylvana, they have the extra team fight capability.
Yeah, and speaking of which, it's going to be an arrow hitting on towards Few. It's just going to be having his health tickle a little bit. But Ribbo, as much as he can actually move across the map way quicker than the Harif, but he's already down low. It's really hard for him to join in if they were to start the turtle from the side of RRQ Hoshi. And we're just waiting for perhaps these guys to be prepared to make that rotation.
Yeah, between the two of them up top, Ribbo here and R7. Obviously, R7 has to telegraph when he's gone. But Ribbo, on the other hand, can rotate towards mid and then somehow help out if this turtle fight does break out. As you can see, it's Lusty just waiting here in that pixel bush. That's going to be Zaman Force already committed. So Ribbo can say, hey, no more Zaman Force. I think we can move on, try to do something. And after this orange buff, we can expect something big from Carl.
Yeah, and it's already going on the recall, so he can directly walk straight in towards the turtle pit pretty much quickly. Now, a little bit of the contention for the golden crab, if you may call it. So, gonna be a lot of gold coming for the side of Sin.
This is great for the side of Bren Esports. If you think about it, Vin hasn't been that hot onto hitting those arrows.
Yeah,
the
not so
opening
much.
wasn't there, and Carl TZ had a good 3 minutes. The first 3 minutes were good for Carl TZ. Bren Esports here is going for the turtle, and there's no contest. Up top, Ribbo will be the target.
First blood here by R7. Again, they're trading lives for turtles. Ribbo taken out. That's going to be a huge move for Sin, the first kill of the game. Now, the gold gap isn't so big. This is how we saw it earlier on. And so far, the fact that Ribbo stayed in the lane, and that's 3 members of RRQ Hoshi that had to share the EXP and the gold up top, that's what led to this very, very small marginal gain on Bren Esports, but there's no conversion really.
Yeah, and Calamity's life already in the hands of R7 after 1 kill in the back, but Psycho easily gets spotted out by Few with that sort of movement. Nothing much is going to be happening between the two of them, but of course, Psycho has a very big duty coming in towards those team fights, and he's got to catch out Kaltizi, but look at just the layers of things, and Kaltizi has already used the Blazing Blood.
Calamity Reaper is something that R7 can just utilize, and if they ever want to pick fights right now, this might be the time that they should go for it. And The upper turret doesn't have any more energy shields, I think. It was chipped down a bit by R7
Yeah,
here.
all three of them. Yeah.
And if ever they want to just go for this,
Oh!
their next objective, and Lusty here will be the first target for Vin that he hits.
Oh, Swift as the coursing river, and well, it definitely did happen in the river, of course, and the rest of the members of RRQ, they're moving right in, trying to set things up against Ripple, but they catch him on towards view. Davenport thing popped out as he tries to run away, and he survives.
Now the rotations coming up from RRQ Hoshi, it seems like they're reading into Bren Esports' playbook. They know where the hell is Bren Esports gonna come from.
Yeah, it's easy, and I think for now RRQ Hoshi will do that and try to make this gold gap a little smaller because CarlTZ's not there yet. CarlTZ's not there. Oh, FlapTZ gonna be coming in. There's the ejector onto one. Turtle taken in by the Ling. That's Sin helping out. Lusty destroyed. That's WizKing taking him in. Psycho, though, gonna get away from FlapTZ. So far, it's a 1 for none. Rebo looking low. He is gonna... Oh! The flicker in! The flicker in! All the damage from R7, ladies and gentlemen. They're all low, but they're getting the kills nonetheless. Psycho just acting as a barricade. CarlTZ and Few can't do much. Wow, that was a total win. A wash for Bren Esports. They couldn't get anything. And conversion through the roof. A turret. You want a turret with that? Yes, sir.
Yeah, quite a destruction that we've just witnessed over on towards the turtle side, and RRQ Hoshi has been able to also back a turret right down below, but I'm looking at the lack of responses coming in from Bren Esports side as well, but we saw an early usage of the Blazing Duet on towards those minions itself. I don't think it's relatively worth it.
I think CarlTZ just understands that he has to speed up the clear.
True.
He has to catch up, and they can see that the gold gap is growing. And if he's not joining fights, which I think he shouldn't, then yeah, Blazing Duet, by all means, pull the trigger.
Now, I'm seeing Bren Esports having a hard time. Well, that's obvious. But still, we haven't seen CarlTZ with the Blazing Duet. And it just seems to me that RRQ Hoshi are picking their fights well. They fight in a time where CarlTZ has his Blazing Duet down.
Yeah, again, it's just basics. It's fundamentals. Now, nice catch. Imperial Justice on a Psycho. Plus a down force by R7. A few shields gonna save him there. The Tempest of Blade. And Sin knocks out CarlTZ. Oh, R7 barely survives. FlapTZ pops him open. That's a double for Sin, though. Rebo gonna get away. Blood O keeping him alive, but how long Vin is still alive here. FlapTZ. Shot energy. Is it enough for him to take on two? Oh, WizKing and Vin. Here comes Sin with the orange buff. It's gonna hurt. Oh, I think they disengage. They know that Few can still deal a lot of damage.
Definitely have to disengage right there. It's a 2-for-2 trade, and it's still working out for the side of Bren Esports. As at least they do have FlapTZ here, and they are getting flanked from multiple directions. It's a killing spree coming in for Sin, and the next one to fall. It's gonna be Sin that gets cut out. I think it's pretty okay with this catch.
Yeah, well, Few still the instinct to stay and know that I can out-sustain these members of RRQ Hoshi left. The spiral strangling keeps El Capitan alive enough to make sure that when CarlTZ comes back, they can contest for this turtle. And ooh, look at this down bottom.
Oh yeah.
Gives them enough space, and Carl gets hit by the arrow.
Oh,
Damage output!
That's gonna be CarlTZ shut down. R7 takes the turtle. Zaman Force, there's enough shields in there to keep him alive. RRQ Hoshi shouting their lungs out. They know they won that all in.
This is the things that a Selena can do. It can hit your jungler in the middle of two people, and that's how impactful the Selena is if done correctly.
Oh, you just look at WizKing and he does not even care how much you can put upon it, but Psycho is getting focused on, and they are already trying to get away to cut through the throats, and the Yuzong still gets away with that kill after expending that execute.
Oh, that was a beautiful execute. Full range, I believe, because FlapTZ clicked it as he was exiting. Now, if only this was a Festival of Blood. I think he made the call. That was a calculated decision prior to the game. He picks Killing Spree so that he lasts longer in these fights. I'm wondering if he's kicking himself right now saying, oh, I could have gotten stacks. I could have gotten stacks.
Maybe you might just be.
But at that point on, RRQ Hoshi could have just let Bren Esports go and try to go for another objective. But what do? They try to get as much kills as possible. Then Carl TZ here is gonna have more time to just get his farm. There's no pressure for him. Lusty gets an Athena shield. They are slowly scaling up to that point where RRQ Hoshi, they might not have an answer for this Claude anymore.
Oh, here we go. Black Dragon form. Flap Easy comes in. There's the Imperial, just catches one. R7 decimated. And now underneath the turret, this fight is going to continue. They're going to trade out Lusty. Taken out by Psycho. It's tank-on-tank violence. I still call it supportal combat.
No.
Oh, down bottom. Sin with the split push. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a worthy trade.
That was way too sneaky coming from the side of RRQ. Yes, they did trade, and it's okay for R7 right there as they still managed to catch on towards Lusty. Mid lane.
No, an ejector into the back. Tempest the Blaze keeping him down. They're still alive. Flap Easy, quite a few hits. Oh! Few able to help ideally survive, but only for so long because Flap Easy is gonna bite it right here. It's only Few and Rebo. Lusty gonna be trying to come back. That's good. Blood Ode into the back lines, and Vin is getting the brunt of this all. And right now it's Few, and he's Spyro Strangling once more, poking the front lines, and there's Zaman Force. Oh, you do best to disengage, and R7 gets one still.
And these are the fights where you can see the split decision making coming on from these teams. Carl TZ goes back in, takes down Ling. Now when they saw that, someone just jumped on Carl, took him down. The threat assessment here for both teams are so on point. They turn instantaneously if ever a high priority target is in front of them.
Yeah, as much... you just took the words right out of my mouth. They just appear and immediately they pull the trigger right there, just like how Rebo is getting chunked out. Blood Ode trying to survive, but Rebo will still fall nonetheless. Now RRQ, they should be able to get the top side of the tier 1s, and the Lord is already out, but Few already engaging, and Kaltizi gets caught out.
That's going to be the ejector into the Imperial Justice, resulting to not much. Tempest of Blades going to want to start a little bit more trouble in the purple buff. Bren Esports' jungle is a hot zone. That's going to be one for Few, one for Flap TZ. That's a double though. Sting shut down by the half dragon. Flap TZ here. He wants more. He smells blood. 2 for 2. I think that's as good as Bren Esports can get.
Okay, so now that's a 2 for 2, but the advantage here for Bren Esports is they have the retribution. They can get the Lord, probably try to slow it up a bit, but Psycho and Whisking, they won't let that happen.
They're gonna force the issue, and here comes Rebo. Psycho gonna be going back. Oh, Way of the Dragon. Lassie says, get away from here, and the Lord is secured by Bren Esports.
Just one slight mishap coming from the side of RRQ Hoshi has opened things up, and it all led to this. When they saw Sin was already out, immediately they called for it, especially, you know, having no retribution on the side of RRQ. And by the time Rebo come, RRQ says, okay, this is definitely not going to be our Lord. And oh boy, this might just be the biggest comeback coming towards game 2.
Butters, I have a question for you. 3 towers on RRQ Hoshi, but Bren Esports got the Lord. Who won the trade?
Definitely Bren Esports, because they are the ones who's gonna stall the game a bit. Now, this is a Luminous Lord. This is something RRQ Hoshi needs to send 2 to 3 people for.
At least.
So that means the turrets on the side of RRQ Hoshi are bound to go down, and that is one turret immediately at the hands of Bren Esports.
Guess what? They're even sending their own men upon it just to try to buy even more time, but here's
defensive Tempest Ablaze onto Sin. He is out of this fight for now. Another push in mid. I think that turret down bottom might be next. Nay, make it this one in mid. And right now, Bren Esports, they're just taking as much time as they need to be able to secure the late game. Carl TZ, call him Mr. I Don't Sleep.
Now, Leo contra, this is where the jungle choke happens. you can see that Bren Esports is scattering themselves all over the map. Contra, you were saying.
Yeah, it's all resources for the side of Bren Esports right after securing that lore. Not only that, you see so many layers that we saw coming from the side of RQ. Yeah, they want to go in for those picks every single time that they see Bren Esports. They try to dive right at them. Just look at the goal lead right now swinging in favor of the side of Bren Esports. Already 2.5. And, well, there's going to be a lot of money for them to buy all these items in.
I just want to check the items right now so that we have a bit of time. Oh no, there's a fight happening.
Oh no, Ejector started up. It's few. That's going to be Tempest of Blades. You know Sin feels it right now. Black Dragon forming here by FlapTZ. Oh, and WizKing gets blown to pieces. Ejector into the turret. Summon Force right there. That's going to be the barricade. Down goes WizKing. Rebo gets the kill. And that's 1 for Bren.
I think this is the perfect time to just go for an item check. So let's see
Better
what
late than never.
the Claude has. Demon Hunter Sword. He has the Athena Shield up.
Check.
He has the Golden Staff
Check.
up. So the items here are not all damage items, but still it gives him a certain amount of protection. For Flap, it's going to be a Cursed Helmet, a Queen's Wings, and a Bloodless Axe, plus an Oracle, extra tankiness. Rebo here is almost at item lock, so we can expect a lot from him in the coming fights. R7 though, he has a Calamity Reaper, the Feather of Heaven, the Holy Crystal, everything that he needs to deal a certain amount of damage. But Sin with the Queen's Wings, that might help them in the coming fights.
Oh, hopefully it does, because Psycho's going right in with an unstoppable force already, but he is getting taken down immediately. And with that, R7 goes in to be securing the killing spree by having Few taken out.
Nice for RRQ. I like that RRQ is trading out effectively, and they defended that inhibitor turret relatively well. Could have been cleaner since Psycho had to go down just the same. But there is one thing that's alarming me. One thing that says, oh, RRQ Hoshi, I think they know that they're on the ropes, is because almost all Tempest of Blades in the past 2 or 3 team fights have been defensive. Right now, they want to pick this. Sin, another defensive Tempest of Blades going to be going back. And FlapTZ and Rebo are here. They're dealing the damage. They're raining it down. That's going to be Ling taken down. Another looking for it. Oh, waiting, come back. That's R7 now. And from the back, it's WizKing. 3-4 none. Bren Esports can go ahead and take this Free Lord second to the game. And from here, another penetration.
You can really see the TZ connection. What Sin goes down for Claude, what Flap does is he goes around with the Black Dragon form just targeting Sin, and Sin can't do much about that.
Yeah, they went in a little bit too early, if you ask me, because they went in for that engagement by the corners of the jungle, and there's nothing much to get out of it. They loosen in the process. This is just history repeating itself. And second Luminous Lord for the side of Bren Esports. I think they have got this game pretty much sealed.
Yep, Divine Glaive going over to R7, but check it out, FlapTZ just got his Sea Halberd now. Middle lane pushed in. Lord isn't even on the map just yet. Now, we have come from just building casual Deadly Blades into actually turning it into a full-on Sea Halberd, and that is just impressive. That just shows how much FlapTZ wants to really stop the regeneration and finish fights when they started, because I believe the next 1 or 2 team fights, if it even extends to that, could be the last.
Yeah, and looking at R7, they don't really have as much deaths. WizKing as well, so you really just have to stop them on their tracks. If they can stall out the game, make an important pickoff, make an important play, then that might be something that Bren Esports can lose from.
Yeah, speaking of losing stuff, they're already lost the top side of the turret, and you can definitely see that Finn is absolutely caught out. That's not where he needs to be at, but the Lord is already scored it, and Lusty is hunting for those kills. Bren Esports will definitely get this equalizer right here for the Philippines.
Sitting at 1-1, Butters, you may have been the herald of good news for many Filipino fans around the world of Mobile Legends and of Bren Esports. Maybe, just maybe, that game 1 was all they needed to pick up the pace.
I mean, well, it could be a download game.
No.
I'm not quite sure. I haven't really talked to them if they really like their download games, but it happens for some. And you can't really explain it, but if the tournament meta is not available or changes, this are the things that might happen to people. It's the first game curse, second game curse, third game curse. I don't know, but it happens.
Well, talk about warm-up games here. Bren looking much better. I definitely felt like there were moments where RRQ like kind of was like getting around them, going for those big corners. But again, this is one heck of a series for this top 3 spot. I mean, 1-1 in a best of 5 already. It's neck and neck. How is it looking like here, and how's things going to shape up from here on out?
Yeah, I really want to point out one thing that I dislike coming from RQ's draft here.
Ooh.
Yes, Jawhead, high priority coming into many of these matches, good in the meta, but it's something that later in the stage of the game, it just falls off so drastically, and it's evident, like, the moment that you see there's an Alice and the Claude, they can easily walk away, whoever you throw.
I see. Well, with that being said, let's get a more in-depth analysis from our analysis. Let's go over to them.
Thank you very much, and I hope someone clipped Gideon because that is gold. That is gold. But yeah, either way, speaking of gold, we got 2 of the teams with yellow on their logo, and in my opinion, right, I think all of the Indonesian fans and all of the Philippine fans are on the edge of their seat. Especially, we watched where RRQ Hoshi seemed pretty good in early as well as the mid stage of the game, but then Bren Esports, they just got back up and they won. What happened?
Well, there were so many, I would say, not really bad decisions coming out from RRQ Hoshi, but more on forced errors from their part. Now, I want to say though, the start for RRQ Hoshi was perfect. They know exactly what they wanted to do, and this is some sort of a late game composition from RRQ Hoshi.
Yeah,
it's the Harith as well as the Ling. You know, the biggest problem, however, is when they are while they are incredibly scaling in the latter stage of the game, they are unfortunately timing based. And in fact, RRQ Hoshi are actually playing with their timings. Biggest problem is, look at the spell that this Harith has. Well, they always go for Purify anyways, but you can see that as a weakness. If you're looking at Bren Esports, there are many stuns from the side of Bren Esports,
exactly,
which means that they can really force this Purify. And when they were fighting, when they're winning the fights, Bren Esports take the fights that don't involve the Purify on the Harith.
And the thing that I like about Bren Esports, usually we see that when a team is going down, they just like, okay, we'll just wait for someone to make a mistake and then we'll capitalize. But Bren Esports, especially from the Yuzong, from Flap TZ, just like you said, forced errors. He forced the situation onto RRQ Hoshi to answer the situation. I love the play at the top side, just like you said. They timed Harith's Purify. Okay, the Purify is not a we can go in and then Sylvana goes in. And the thing is, we look at Alice as well from Rebo with the Enchanted Talisman as well as with the purple buff. Or yeah, he basically doesn't ever lose mana. He just goes in with the Blood Oath and he just stays in there for a very long time, and then Yuzong coming in with the Black Dragon form, and then later on with the Dragon Tail as well. It becomes very, very difficult for RRQ Hoshi to really sustain. Yes, Whisking, we see he sustains super, super well with his Haas Claw, with his Endless Battle Oracle, as well as the Blood Wings, but that is Whisking. That's not the same thing with Ling, Selena, as well as Harry from R7, Zin, as well as Vin, where we can see plenty of times they try to fight, where Ling, he has used every single skills, every single energy, but nothing happened. But right now, let's look at the MVP of the game, and it's going to go to Flap TZ on this Yuzong with match KD of 8, 4, and 6.
See, Halbert picks up as well. Not only that, the most important thing that I want to take on about Flap TZ and how he played this is he also understood that RRQ Hoshi, they are timing based. Not only are they dependent on the Purify on Harith, but they are also dependent on the Tempest of Blades. The last 3 skirmishes that RRQ Hoshi lost, and those were the decisive ones, right? Losing those 3 skirmishes really allowed Bren Esports to take the Lord and eventually take the game. Those last 3 skirmishes, they were able to force the Tempest of Blades. And this is because of the combination between Lusty, Flap TZ, and Few. The way that they were juggling and controlling their stuns, forcing the Tempest of Blades coming out from Sin, and that was definitely a terrible sin for RRQ Hoshi, unfortunately.
Yeah, and the thing is, we have seen RRQ won the first game, and now the second game, Bren has won it, and now it's a 1-1. We need 3 wins in total to make sure that we know who will be facing against Burmese Ghoul. And right now, Flap TZ, he shows that he wants to get that revenge. onto Bren
feels,
Schools.
really feels like it, man. But then again, this is these are two teams that are on top of the pack when it comes to just performing in the Mobile Legends action. Obviously, we would expect this to go the distance. I personally think that this will go 3-2. At least 3-1, and here we go. We are just starting the actual series.
Yeah, but either way, we have to go to a short break. Our players are getting ready. We will be going to the discourse in a little bit. Here is Wolf. My name is LaFell. We'll be going to a break. Don't go anywhere. We will be back right after this.